A new Florida committee will study a rare disorder that is often misdiagnosed as Parkinson's disease, following the passage of Senate Bill 186 last week. SB 186, known as the Justo R. Cortes Progressive Supranuclear Palsy (PSP) Act, will establish the PSP and other neurodegenerative diseases policy committee. It will require the state's Surgeon General to submit a progress report and a final report of the committee's findings to the legislature and governor. Without proper detection at an early stage, PSP will only worsen with life-threatening complications, Broder said. We have not found a cure for PSP, so the biggest focus is on managing care. This bill directs the Department of Health to establish a work policy group comprised of healthcare workers, family members, and advocates whose aim is to identify those in our state with PSP and other neurodegenerative diseases, create a standard of care for detection and treatment, and develop recommendations to help improve patient awareness, especially in our more vulnerable population areas. Broder said. Bob Cortes, a former state representative who served in the House from 2014 to 2018 and attended the meeting, urged him to write SB 186. The bill is named after his father, Justo R. Cortes, who suffers from PHP. My father not only gave me life, but he made me the man I am today. Unfortunately, he's suffering with a disease that none of us really knew what it was. They were telling us that he had Parkinson's, but it wasn't. He fell back 6 times, had 6 stitches in his head, and broken ribs. We finally discovered the right diagnosis, but it took almost 2 years. Bob Cortes said his dad was present when he was sworn in as a member of the House. That was the dad I knew all my life, he said. And today, Dad is in a wheelchair. I have to get him out of bed in the morning, and bathe him, and do most of the things that we all take for granted. There's no cure for PSP, but the best we can do is find out more about it, and try to help others suffering from this disease, because many of them in Florida and throughout the nation end up being misdiagnosed, and it takes a long time. PSP also takes a toll on caretakers of patients with the disease, Bob Cortes said. Mom and Dad had been married for 65 years, and Mom went from being a wife to a full-time caretaker, and Mom's 82 years old. Can you imagine the toll and the strain that takes on her, and the frustration she's living through today? I look forward to hopefully passing this, and seeing if we can do some meaningful change for those suffering from this horrible disease. Bob Cortes. Sen. Jason Broder, our Sanford, sponsors SB 186, and discussed it during a Senate Committee on Fiscal Policy hearing on January the 31st. He said PSP often presents symptoms related to Parkinson's disease, but is far less common.